Okay, it being six o'clock, I'll call to order this meeting of the Chelmsford Select Board for May 4th, 2026, and if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I just want to notify people watching and people in the audience that this meeting is being televised and recorded by Chelmsford Telemedia and for later rebroadcast. And if anyone else here is recording the meeting, if you would let me know. Okay, apparently not. Okay, we'll go with public service announcements. Jeff?
There will be a joint meeting of the Select Board and the Housing Authority to fill the vacancy of the Housing Authority Board. Can't read that there.
Blow it up some more?
Excuse me?
Do you want me to blow it up? There you
A
go.
little bit, yeah,
Okay.
thank you. In accordance with the provision of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 121B, Section 5, and Chapter 41, Section 11, the Select Board and the Chelmsford Housing Authority will hold a joint meeting on Monday, May 18th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in room 204, this room. Chelmsford Town Offices, 50 Billerica Road, Chelmsford, Mass. To fill a member vacancy on the Chelmsford Housing Authority Board. The person so appointed shall serve as a member of the Chelmsford Housing Board until April 6, 2027 annual town election. Anyone interested in being appointed to fill said vacancy should send a written letter of interest or a committee application to the Select Board or appear at the May 18th joint meeting.
If you want to read the proclamation, and then Tricia will accept it.
Okay, well, Town of Chelmsford Proclamation. In celebration of Municipal Clerks Week, May 3rd through 9th, 2026, whereas the town clerk's office serves as a professional link between the residents and the local governing bodies, an agency of government at other levels, and plays a vital role in the public interaction with local government, and whereas the town clerk's office has pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the position of town clerk, a time-honored vital part of local government, exists throughout the world and is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the town clerk staff in the town of Chelmsford continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the town clerk's office through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, regional, country, and international professional organization. And whereas most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishment of the town clerk's office, and whereas the week of May 3rd through 9th, 2026 marks an observance of the Municipal Clerks Week, which is sponsored by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. Now, therefore, we, the Select Board of the Town of Chelmsford, do further recognize the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2026 as Professional Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our Town Clerk, Patricia Zeritz, and her staff, and staff for their vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the town of Chelmsford. Presented this 4th day of May 2026.
And I believe we have members of the clerk's office here to accept the proclamation.
Can I say a few words first?
Absolutely.
I want to thank you all very much for this recognition. And I'm here to accept a proclamation honoring Municipal Clerks Week on behalf of the remarkable staff that we have in the front, because they serve as the front of every facet of what we do in the town clerk's office. So my team consists of our deputy clerk, Maria Companion, who is incredibly kind, patient, and meticulously detail-oriented. Our Assistant Town Clerk, Pamela Connors, who's sharp, creative, and enthusiastic. And our Departmental Support Coordinator, dependable, efficient, and just plain fun to be around, Allie Hayden. I want to thank you for honoring their efforts. Together, we're proud to serve the residents of Chelmsford through our mission of trust, integrity, and excellence. And I appreciate all of you very much for recognizing their efforts. Thank you.
Jeff's got it.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it very much.
Great job.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I'll just say something really quick. Good evening. No, stay up here, stay up here. Thank you for having us all here tonight. As she said, I'm Allie Hayden, the Departmental Support Coordinator. Thank you for having us. As you stated, this is Municipal Clerks Week and a time to recognize the vital role to help keep cities and towns across the state running efficiently. And of course, where would we be without our wonderful town clerk, Patricia Durst? A woman who certainly does not need an introduction. While I personally have only had a brief privilege of being part of her team, I think I speak for all of us when I say the impact she has had on us has been lasting and lifelong. Tricia has always placed a strong emphasis in efficiency, professionalism, and most importantly, lifting those around her up. The standards she sets are high, and they allow our office to operate with confidence, consistency, and purpose. The role of town clerk often works behind the scenes, but the importance of Tricia's work cannot be overstated. She is a trusted resource for the town of Chelmsford and has accumulated many notable achievements throughout her career. There is no exaggeration in saying the success and reputation of this office are a direct reflection of Tricia's leadership and who she is as a person. Her commitment and dedication to our office and the town are evident even on the busiest of days. Tricia, thank you for your leadership and for the example you set for us every day. Your work does not go unnoticed, and your impact reaches far beyond the walls of the town hall. The three of us could only be so lucky to be half of the woman you are. So tonight, it feels especially fitting to take a moment to recognize not just the position, but the person who embodies it and lives it every day. And thank you again, and I'd ask everyone to please recognize and thank Town Clerk Patricia Durst. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Saturday, May 9th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the town annual shred day, which will take place at Public Works Office at 9 Alpha Road in Chelmsford. Please see the acceptable materials and the non-acceptable materials. Oh, am I reading this whole letter?
You could just note the dates on it, that's fine.
Okay. May 15th shall be recognized as the National Police Officer Memorial Day, the calendar week which will fall on National Police Week, which is May 15th. Then we'll be holding a ceremony on Tuesday, May 12th at Forefathers Cemetery, 2026 at 11 a.m., which a ceremonial wreath will be laid at the gravesite of Constable Adams and those officers who've made the ultimate sacrifice. The fire station groundbreaking ceremony, the date has been changed to Monday, May 18th at 11 a.m. at the West Fire Station at 272 Old Westford Road. The annual Memorial Day observance will be Monday, May 25th in North Chelmsford. The American Legion Post 313 will be the host veterans organization this year. The parade route will start promptly at 10 a.m. from the American Legion Post 313 located at 90 Groton Road, North Chelmsford. We will proceed down Groton Road to Vinyl Square. If you'd like to be in the parade, please assemble by 9:30 at the American Legion Post 313 parking lot. Participants in the parade can be dropped off at the American Legion Post parking lot. And there'll be plenty of parking across the street at the Chelmsford Senior Center. Everyone is welcome. There'll be a program following immediately after the parade at Vinyl Square. After the program, everyone is invited to North Town Hall across the street for ice cream and cake. If you have any questions about the parade, please call the Veterans Office at 978-250-5238. Thank you. The DPW food drive for the Chelmsford Pantry will be held on Friday, May 29th, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Market Basket on Chelmsford Street. Is the collection day on Friday, the 29th. An additional drop-off location at the Public Works Office at 9 Alpha Road on Monday, May 18th through Friday, May 29th. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 to 4. Tuesday from 7 to 6 p.m. Friday from 7 a.m. to 12 noon. We look forward to working with you and hope you will support the Chelmsford Food Pantry. How should the LRTA make our bus routes better? We're changing the LRTA routes in Lowell area, and we want your input. Take a short survey or join a pop-up event at the Kennedy Center at Lowell Station, April 8th, 6 to 8 a.m., 3 to 5 p.m. The North Middlesex Council of Governments, NEMCOG, is not sure what we're doing here.
Just the public comment period on the transportation improvement plan.
We're having a public comment period on the transportation improvement. The date is Wednesday, May 6, 2026, from 12 to 1. There is also a Zoom link, or Thursday, May 7th, from 7 to 8 p.m. at the NEMCOG office at Suffolk Street in Lowell. NEMCOG will have a public comment period for the pedestrian and bicycle plan, a collaborative effort to improve the walking and biking infrastructure across the region. 2 virtual hearings will be held as part of a public comment period. All are welcome to attend. Wednesday, May 6th from 12 to 1, or Thursday, May 7th from 7 to 8 p.m. at 672 Suffolk Street, Suite 100, Lowell, Mass. Chelmsford Market on the Common is returning. The Artisans and Farmers Market announcing our 2026 season every Saturday from June 6th to October 10th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you. We're now to the part of our agenda where we accept public input. If there's anybody here that would like to address the board, just a note that you have a 3-minute time limit. And also note that if you bring up a topic that is not on our agenda, we will not be able to address it in any way, but you are free to make whatever comments you want. So, and if you'd identify yourself before you speak. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is David Houle. I live on Erlin Road in Chelmsford. I'm also the Vice President of Chelmsford Firefighters Local 1839. On April 7th, 2026, Chelmsford firefighter Nick Spinelli faced a life-altering moment when he suffered a 40-foot fall at the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy. This tragic incident left Nick with severe, life-threatening injuries, including a lacerated spleen and kidney, significant dislocations and fractures in both wrists, a traumatic brain injury, and an orbital bone fracture. These injuries required multiple surgeries, with more planned as he continues his recovery journey. Despite these challenges, Nick's determination has shown through. Known for his pride in serving his hometown, he wears a Chelmsford Fire shirt every day as a symbol of his commitment. Remarkably, just last week, Nick took his first steps independently, a true testament to his strength and his spirit. While his road to recovery is long and arduous, he remains focused on returning to the job he loves, being a firefighter in Chelmsford. Nick's brothers and sisters of Chelmsford Fire Local 1839 and the professional firefighters of Massachusetts stand behind Nick as he navigates through this difficult journey. Though the future remains uncertain, one thing is clear. Nick is dedicated to protecting and serving the residents of Chelmsford, and that's a calling he does not take lightly. Nick's remarkable resilience serves as an inspiration to all of us. As he continues to heal, the support from family, friends, and the community will undoubtedly play a vital role in his recovery. We ask that you, the board, the town, and the department support Nick in his time of need as he supports the town every day he puts his uniform on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Greg Signini, employee of the Chelmsford Fire Department. I'm also the Secretary-Treasurer of Chelmsford Firefighters Local 1839. I'd like to explain the relationship between the town of Chelmsford and the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy, for those who aren't aware. The MFA is solely funded through an assessment on Commonwealth insurance companies that provide policies to the Commonwealth residents, such as auto and home insurance. This funding allows cities and towns to send their recruits and officers to train at the MFA at no cost. The town of Chelmsford is one of those communities that takes advantage of the MFA and accordingly, on average, sends 3 recruits to train at the MFA each year as an extension of its training division. This intensive 10-week program at the MFA involves classroom instruction, physical fitness training, firefighter skill training, and live firefighter practice. The MFA relies on firefighters employed by fire departments across the Commonwealth to help run this program and others. The town of Chelmsford and its residents benefit greatly from this free service from the state and MFA as firefighters return with a higher level of skill, which improves the fire service in the town of Chelmsford, which saves lives and also impacts the town's financial health and ability to get better insurance and bond rates for itself and for residents. The town of Chelmsford conditions firefighters' employment on their attendance at the graduation from a fire academy. If the MFA were no longer in existence, the town of Chelmsford's taxpayers alone would have to absorb this cost, as is currently the case in several communities, including Boston, Brookline, Worcester, and Quincy. This cost is far from small. It is for this reason that it is incumbent on the cities and towns like Chelmsford to begin looking beyond this one situation and show a willingness to work with the state and the MFA to address situations like the one involving Chelmsford firefighter Nick Spinelli. If this does not happen, the continuation of the MFA will be put at great risk, which is not in the interest of anyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Rob Albon, 1 Driftwood Drive in Chelmsford. I'm also the president of the Chelmsford Firefighters, IAFF Local 1839. Good evening. I stand before you today to express our concern regarding the lack of communication from town leadership regarding firefighter Nick Spinelli. To date, the members of the Chelmsford Fire Department have not received any updates from the fire chief about Nick's status. There has been no address to the department and no guidance on how we can support him during his recovery. Only an email that was forwarded from the state fire marshal, which seemed to be a coordinated effort to shift blame and responsibility onto the Massachusetts Fire Academy. On April 23rd, the fire chief did send an email inviting us to celebrate Town Manager Cohen's retirement party on May 20th. This has only added to our frustration. On April 21st, the Chelmsford Firefighters Local 1839 reached out to Town Manager Paul Cohen and Town Labor Counsel Brian Mazur of KP Law, seeking remedies to assist Nick's situation. In our email, we expressed our readiness to collaborate with the town to navigate the broader issues highlighted by this incident. Quote, this support will also offer time for the state legislature to address the broader concerns for all municipalities and firefighters highlighted by this incident. After a week without a response, we followed up with Mr. Mazur, who informed us on April 28th that the board will be meeting in executive session to discuss the union's proposal. However, the agenda posted on April 30th did not include any mention of this. To say we are disappointed would be an understatement. The lack of urgency is concerning, and this seems to reflect a broader pattern of issues related to Mr. Mazur's conduct and professionalism during his tenure as labor counsel. Faced with the ongoing inaction, we felt it necessary to present our request directly to the Chelmsford Select Board on May 1st. In response, Mr. Mazur sent an email to the Union Labor Council accusing us of, quote, bullying the town in Select Board. This is far from the truth. We are simply seeking a constructive dialogue for a solution, as Mr. Mazur's inaction and ineptitude have unnecessarily prolonged this important conversation. Mr. Mazur further stated, quote, respond if you wish, as I know you won't be able to help yourself, but the situation is as it stands today, and no amount of posturing and foot stomping on your part will change that. Such comments raise serious questions about the professionalism and integrity we expect from Town Labor Council. As the town considers who should represent it in these crucial matters, we urge you to reflect on the character and professionalism displayed by Mr. Mazur. Most importantly, we ask the Select Board to consider our proposal to assist firefighter Nick Spinelli during his prolonged recovery, or, at a minimum, allow the discussion to be had. Chelmsford firefighters are willing to bear some of the burden in order to help not only the town of Chelmsford, but most importantly, our brother, Nick Spinelli.
You have
We
10
appreciate the
seconds
Select
left.
Board's attention to this matter and sincerely hope to foster a collaborative effort moving forward to support one of our own, a Chelmsford firefighter, and his name is Nick Spinelli. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Eleanor Spinelli, 11 Golden Cove Road, Chelmsford. I'm the mother of the injured firefighter, Nick Spinelli. At this time, I want to thank the Chelmsford Fire Union, the Firefighters Union, for all their undoubtedly support that they have given us. The first 2 weeks, they were at the hospital round the clock. No other town can say that. No other department in the city could say that. Our hope is that the town and the state steps up and does the right thing for Nick. He has been a Chelmsford resident since he's been born. Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, every sport in this town he's been a part of. His goal was to be a Chelmsford firefighter to support the people of Chelmsford. Our hope is you guys will turn around and do the right thing and support him. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Oh,
Right.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Manager. I understand that it's the board's policy not to respond to the public comment input session. However, given the seriousness of some of the comments being made this evening, I felt it was important to provide some clarification. But first, I want to recognize and commend the union members for their unwavering support for firefighter Nick Spinelli following his tragic April 7th incident at the Mass Fire Academy. Their response was immediate and deeply compassionate. Union members were at Nick's bedside as soon as he arrived at the hospital, and they quickly organized a continuous presence to support both him and his family. They have coordinated several successful fundraisers, including today's well-attended blood drive. And most importantly, they have provided steady comfort and reassurance to Nick's loved ones during an unimaginably difficult time. Their commitment has been extraordinary, and I'm sincerely grateful for everything they have done and continue to do. That said, I do need to address some of the statements that were made regarding communication and information sharing. I have communicated directly with the union president. We have communicated, we've been in discussion with the state, but we were asked by the state to allow them time to go through the process. As far as the assertion that the union's April 9th email proposal was sent to the town manager and somehow was not sent to you, obviously you, the select board members, are aware that you received the proposal. I know that because I saw the email chain, and that you'll take it up at your next meeting on Monday, May 18th. But members of the public watching tonight may not know that, and I think it's important that the record be clear. Since the incident on April 7th, the town manager, human resource director, and myself have been in daily communication regarding Nick's progress and the steps needed to try to address the issues regarding his compensation and his continuous service time. We've been working continuously and collaboratively to identify a viable path forward. Our collective outreach efforts have been ongoing. We've been in regular communication with the Mass Municipal Association, the Department of Fire Services, the Secretary of Public Safety and Security, the Massachusetts Fire Chiefs, our state legislative delegation, and other relevant partners. Again, we were accused, as of Friday, of not having those communications, and I can show through either email or my phone that I've been in communication as well as the manager. Like the union, the town has been working tirelessly to find an effective and sustainable solution. Our shared goal is to ensure that Nick and his family can concentrate on his care and healing without the added burden of uncertainty about his compensation or his continuous service time. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to kind of clarify these matters. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. On to committee vacancies.
Okay, committee vacancies as of today's date. We have one unexpired term for the Age-Friendly Implementation Committee, one unexpired term for the CCA Town Hall Advisory Committee, one unexpired term for the Clean Energy and Sustainability Committee, 5 openings for the Commission on Disabilities, and one unexpired term for Council on Aging. We also have one unexpired term for the Cultural Council and one unexpired term for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and 4 unexpired terms for the Holiday Decorating, one unexpired term for the Military Community Covenant Task Force. And as I say every meeting, the Parade Committee, we need people, and this is the time, we're 2 months from today. We need people to step up right now and get involved, and we would appreciate that. If you're interested in serving on a town board or a committee, please complete the online application available on the town website. For more information, contact the town manager's office at 978-250-5202 or tmoffice@chelmsfordma.gov.
Okay, thank you. Next up is the appointment of a new police chief in the town of Chelmsford.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and members in attendance this evening or watching. I'm pleased to present to you for confirmation my appointment of Gary Hannigan to serve as the town's next chief of police. As many are aware, Gary is currently our deputy police chief and has served admirably for the community for the past 27 and a half years. As you can tell in his detailed resume, he's very qualified and accomplished. But the process, sort of to bring people up to date how this works out is when the position became known that Chief Spence was retiring, I made the decision to open up the process to internal candidates in the police department. The position is governed because it's non-civil service by Chapter 366 of the Acts of 1993, and what that requires is that the town manager has to provide an employment contract for the police chief, and then it has to conduct a search of candidates inside the police department, before basically advancing to any other efforts. And I have fully complied with the provisions of that statute. Basically, how this was conducted is with the assistance of outgoing Chief Colin Spence. We notified the individuals who were eligible under the accordance of the statute. We conducted a professional independent assessment center, and that was followed by interviews, and then negotiations, and then the confirmation of appointment. I'm pleased to inform you, as I did in my memo when I made the decision and reached agreement with Gary that Gary topped the assessment center. Clearly has demonstrated his capability as serving as deputy chief, and so I present to you for confirmation this evening in accordance with, again, our charter, our state statute, obviously the appointment, the employment agreement, and so forth. So I'm really excited for Gary and for the department, and look forward to your confirmation this evening. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we support the town manager's confirmation of Gary Hannigan as our new chief.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Gary, if you'd like to say a few words.
I didn't think there was that many good things to say about me. Good evening, members of the Select Board, Manager Paul Cohen, and members of the Chelmsford community. This is an exciting time for me, both professionally and personally.
as well as for my family who's with me tonight. It's a privilege and honor, and I'm truly humbled to stand before you this evening as you consider my appointment as the next police chief of the town. I'd like to begin by thanking Town Manager Cohen for his confidence in recommending me for this role, as well as the board for placing trust and confidence in my leadership. Over the past 3 years, Chief Spence and I have navigated numerous challenges, including circumstances neither one of us probably could have ever anticipated. Through professionalism, empathy, and integrity, we remain steadfast and continue to move forward. Chief, I sincerely wish you all the best in your retirement, and thank you for your many years of dedicated service and commitment to the Chelmsford Police Department. I also appreciate the mentorship, professionalism, and patience you demonstrate throughout your tenure, and I wish you continued health and success into retirement, so thank you. So, as the town manager said, I come before you today with approximately 28 years of law enforcement experience, all of which been grounded deeply in the commitment of this community. Chelmsford is not just a place where I've worked, it's a community it's a community where I've raised and lived for 47 years and have had the privilege of raising my daughter. This town has shaped who I am, both personally and professionally, and my connection to it runs deep. I would also like to recognize my family. Their unwavering support, patience, and encouragement have made this journey possible. A career in law enforcement requires sacrifice, and I would not be here today without them standing by me every step of the way. So to my family, thank you. Don't cry. My career has always been deeply rooted in community service, as I said. I've taken great pride in never missing an opportunity to engage with the people we serve, whether challenging circumstances or everyday interactions. I firmly believe that the strength of a police department is built on the relationships it fosters within the community. I'm appreciative of this opportunity to serve as your next police chief, and I want to assure not only those in this room, but everyone in Chelmsford of my commitment to this department and to the community. My commitment to you is that I take the responsibility that comes with this position. I'm focused on advancing our police department to the next level while preserving the values that define us. Policing today is much different from when I began my career. While the profession and demands continue to evolve, I rely on the strong foundation laid by those who have come before us. Their leadership has paved the way, and I'm committed to building upon that legacy by fostering a culture that inspires our personnel, supports professional development, and embraces innovation and accountability. We will continue to prioritize our commitment to addressing traffic concerns, supporting special populations, responding effectively to mental health-related calls, enhancing officer training, promoting officer wellness, and meeting the ongoing challenges of recruitment and retention. Equally important, I will continue to take input from the public. Open communication and collaboration will remain central to how we lead this department into the future. Together, we will ensure that Chelmsford remains a safe, welcoming, and resilient community, but most importantly, a police department that the community can be proud of. We are a young department, and with that comes both challenges and opportunities. We will meet those challenges with courage, integrity, and transparency. These principles will guide our decision-making, shape our culture, and strengthen the trust we continue to build within our community. I want to again thank the Select Board and Town Manager Cohen for this opportunity and your confidence in me. It's a responsibility I take seriously, and I'm committed to serving the community with professionalism, dedication, and integrity each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations.
I'd like to say one thing, please. I've known Gary over the years through different correspondence on different events, and his dedication to this town beyond his job is not matched by anyone. His dedication to the Police Athletic League and the work he did behind the scenes for that was phenomenal. And I mean, it just shows you how much he cares about Chelmsford. And I'm excited for you. I truly am, my friend.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, next up we have reports and presentations, so turn it over to James Garrity.
Good evening, everyone. So great to be back here. And as we dive into the report, I think I'm just going to start with a little bit of background information first. If we can go to the next slide. So to quickly catch everybody up, this last spring, the Select Board adopted the strategic plan. Within the strategic plan, there was an element of community engagement and creating a community engagement task force. I led that task force over the summer and presented the recommendations to the Select Board this past November. One of the key recommendations was creating a Civics Academy. This was because reaching out to other communities that had run them, they are incredibly impactful. It's shocking how many positive remarks town officials who run them give, and they can also be incredibly cost-effective too. The select board decided to take this recommendation, and we started creating the Civics Academy this past November. And as we started creating the Civics Academy, we created a couple goals. Wanted to make sure that it remained aligned with what we were attempting to do. And those goals were to help educate town residents on how the Chelmsford municipal government works, to inspire greater involvement, whether it's serving on a board or committee or even running for office. We wanted to provide residents with knowledge to have informed conversations. We also wanted to keep the costs low. We didn't want to blow up the budget with like $20,000, and we didn't want to overwhelm town staff by completely derailing their day-to-day routines. We wanted to keep things manageable. So we created an 8-week structure program for the Civics Academy. This was going to begin in the winter in January and continue through the end of March. The time we decided to do it on Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8:30 p.m. This way it coincided a little bit with a typical workday for the town's operations, and it wouldn't require staff having to come back for an additional 4 or 5 hours on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. We decided to do a format where there'd be 2 one-hour instructional blocks with a half-hour break in between, where we would give the participants some pizza, salad, cookies, maybe even some water. And the Civics Academy was open to any Chelmsford resident age 16 or older. And we opened our applications on December 1st, and I was hoping that we would get at least 8 applicants. We had decided internally that if we didn't get at least 8 applicants, then it likely wouldn't be quite enough people to successfully run the program, so we would delay it by a year. I was hoping to get at least 10. My fingers crossed that we would get 15 applicants, and midway through December, we had 23 people apply. By the time the Civics Academy began, we had 17 participants and 16 people finished the class. And those who weren't able to either participate or complete the class, it wasn't because they gave up on the idea or they didn't like it. Rather, it was because of sudden job changes, schedule changes. I believe somebody moved unexpectedly, so they were a little too far away to come participate in the academy. And the attendance at each session was incredibly strong. No more than a couple people ever missed any session at any given point. And what was really exciting in the Civics Academy was the types of residents who came and participated. We had a high school student participate, and people of all ages all the way up to some senior residents. We also had people with various backgrounds in local government too. Some were town meeting reps who were seeking to expand their knowledge, and others were people who had moved to the community a few years ago but still weren't able to figure out how the town operated or how they could get more involved, and they were really excited to be part of the academy. Then, as we started with each class, I wanted to make sure that since this was our first time launching the Civics Academy, that we gained feedback after each session and overall with the academy. So after each Tuesday, typically Wednesday morning, I send all the participants a simple 4 questionnaire, how they would rank the session out of 5 stars, something that they enjoyed about it or something that they learned, room for improvement, or any other notes. I also asked for, I did a comprehensive end of academy survey of approximately 15 questions, really diving into the effectiveness of the academy. And what was really nice too was in between each session, such as during the breaks or afterwards via email or running into people in town, was all the feedback that the participants willingly gave me throughout the course of the program. And this led to us being able to say that the Civics Academy and all the sessions were incredibly well received. Some departments were able to correct some misconceptions about what they do or the power or influence that they have within the town. Other departments were able to build upon general knowledge, such as DPW. And some departments that weren't really known to the town, such as accounting, were able to explain the vital roles that they play in ensuring that our budget is maintained and that we know where the tax dollars go. And the curriculum also helped to show participants how just complex and interconnected Chelmsford's municipal government is, and also how many responsibilities different town officials carry with them on a day-to-day basis. I think some of the participants are still recovering from the amount of responsibilities the clerk's office has. And the positive feedback, if I included screenshots of all the positive feedback, this presentation would probably be 100 slides long. So I tried to summarize it briefly here. But people and the participants really, really liked the Civics Academy. Town staff really liked being able to present at the Civics Academy. Almost all of the participants said that they have a stronger understanding of how local government works, and they can have informed conversations with their neighbors. They have a greater appreciation for the professionalism, passion, and approachability of town staff. A couple of the participants jokingly said they aren't afraid to go to the assessor's office to ask about an abatement now. There's an increased trust in the overall decision-making of the town, and there's a strong overall satisfaction with how the program was structured and the content that was included. However, we weren't perfect, or else it wouldn't be all that much fun. There was a lot of interest from the participants about some expanded, trying to understand some of the expanded roles of different boards and committees. There was also, people also wanted to learn more about how town meeting itself operates, less about kind of what town meeting is responsible for, more how it's structured and how people can participate in it. There was also a desire to just learn a little bit more about some of the departments that participated. Because of the 8-week structure, we weren't fully able to dive into all the nitty-gritty details in some departments, and some participants still had a few questions at the end of it. But what was key is that there was no feedback that said this was a waste of time, I really didn't like this presentation, or this wasn't necessary. As I've been saying, people really enjoyed and took away a lot with the Academy. So thinking back to the goals that I laid out when we were thinking of the Civics Academy, did we meet them? Well, I can say that not just one, but actually 2 participants ran for town meeting for the first time and were elected and participated in town meeting. They asked some questions. They asked some difficult questions, too, at town meeting. And one of them even told me the other day that because of the Civics Academy, she was able to understand the topics that were being discussed at town meeting, and she felt confident in the votes that she was making. Another participant pursued a write-in campaign for the Housing Authority, and he won his seat. Participants already in serving in town meeting or different boards and committees reported feeling more confident and more engaged in understanding the overall picture of what the town is trying to do. And several participants have reached out to me since then asking how they can continue to engage or engage with committees even if there isn't a vacancy on the board. And what I think is probably the most important and inspiring part is that the participants now reported having more informed conversations with their neighbors. The DPW session got delayed from its original date because of an ice storm. Decided it wouldn't be a good idea to have the participants drive out to the DPW when it was super icy out. So we ended up having it after the town election. And I think 9 participants were able to make it, and I had about 8 conversations with different participants saying how during the town election when they were discussing who they should vote for or what some of the key issues are or what's coming up at town meeting, they were able to have informed conversations. They became the person in the know. They were able to have those types of conversations with their neighbors and feel confident in the answers. They weren't just guessing or saying what might be popular on any given day. And when it came to launching the Civics Academy, we wanted to make sure that we didn't overload or overwhelm town officials. As the participants figured out, and as all of you know, there's a lot that goes on in the town offices, and we oftentimes don't have enough hours in the day to do everything that we need to get done. But the Civics Academy, the way we created it was incredibly manageable. The coordinating the academy itself was handled by me in the town manager's office, but all the departments created their own curriculum and their own learning material, which on first kind of sounds like it's overwhelming, but they only had to do their offices. So it was manageable for them as well. And future academies will be much easier to produce as well because that first baseline of the content has already been created. And moving forward, we just need to tweak it slightly based on the feedback that we received. And after talking with the town manager and some of the other departments, we definitely want to pursue this again next winter. We want to make a couple tweaks to make it even stronger and more meaningful for future participants. We should probably expand it to be 10 to 11 sessions. In the 15-question survey I sent to all the participants at the conclusion of the academy, nearly everybody said it should be 10 to 11 sessions. Some people said it should be 15 sessions, but I think if we do 10 or 11, that'll be the sweet spot. This will allow us to have more time for some departments, such as finance and budgeting, the health department, or even accounting. Originally, when I was talking to Darlene, she was a little worried. She had half an hour to fill, and she was worried that she wouldn't be able to talk about accounting for 30 minutes. She ended up going for 40 minutes and had to cut her off because the assessors had to talk. And the assessors went for half an hour, and they were worried they wouldn't be able to go for 10 minutes. So there's definitely a lot of questions and key insights that these offices have that people want to learn about. And by going to 11 sessions, we'll be able to give them the time that they need. We'll also be able to help streamline some other presentations. Some departments handle so much on a day-to-day basis that trying to explain it all in 60 minutes just isn't feasible. And we can also dedicate some more time to understanding what the town charter is, how it functions within the town, and also talk about town meeting. And this number, I think, is maybe one of the highlights of this whole presentation, is talking to other towns such as Barnstable or Danvers. I was anticipating that our costs would be between like $2,500 and $3,000. And at the end of the day, our total cost was $1,095.96. And this included giving all the participants dinner at each session. So real quick, I would just like to thank the select board for greenlighting this, the town manager for his support, all the department heads and staff who created their curriculum, presented it, answered questions from the participants. And also I want to extend a massive thank you to all of the participants as well. They helped to make this academy come to life and as successful as it was.
Okay.
And there we have it.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question for James?
Yes, I have one question, James.
Sure.
Did you consider Chelmsford ginger ale instead of water?
That's a good, I'm going to put that down in my notes when I get back to my office.
But no, James being modest, I mean, James took this initiative, and as you can see by his presentation, but for the whole course of this, he took this thing, ran with it, and really made it the success that it really was. So James, thank you on behalf of the community and all the participants.
Thank you all.
Okay, next on our agenda is the discussion of an appointment for an acting town manager. As our town charter and our policy for a town manager appointment both indicate that if we expect that there is not going to be a new town manager in place before the incumbent town manager leaves, we have the option to appoint an acting town manager for a period of up to 6 months. So we discussed this briefly at our last meeting, at which time we kind of decided that we would ask every year the town manager has to note 3 staff members who are qualified to replace him temporarily, that would be able to do the job. So I reached out to all 3 of those staff members. That included DPW Director Christine Clancy, Police Chief Colin Spence, and Finance Director John Souza. They all were appreciative of the opportunity to be considered. Having said that, 2 of them indicated that just the timing was not right right now for them to consider applying for that position, or hoping that we would continue, that we would go forward with those appointments. But all of them did indicate that they would strongly support whoever is chosen for the position, and for that I'm grateful for their upcoming support. So that leaves Finance Director John Souza, and so I invited him to come and speak to us for a few minutes about how he sees himself in this position, and then we will have a discussion and potentially take a vote.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Town Manager Cohen. Pleased to be here tonight. Like to start off just talking about, how I see the role of interim town manager. And in my mind, it's someone that provides stability and leadership to guide the town through this transition period between Town Manager Cohen's retirement and the new town manager's arrival. I'm interested in this position because I'd like to draw upon my nearly 20 years of experience as finance director to ensure that town operations function smoothly and that Chelmsford continues to move forward and build upon the many accomplishments that occurred under Town Manager Cohen's tenure. Some of the key strengths that I bring to the position: as finance director, I become familiar with just about every single line in the town's operating budget, and I've led our capital budgeting process from start to finish each year. In early June, I'll be leading the virtual conference with Standard & Poor's credit analysts, as I've done for the past 18 years, as they review the town's finances in detail and then issue a bond rating for our next borrowing in June. I'm proud to say that I have an excellent working relationship with our superintendent of schools and our school finance director. So we get to the point, how can I help the town? People usually associate the words summer and vacation together, but the summer of 2026 promises to be far from a vacation. In July, I'll be working with our town accountant to prepare and submit all required end-of-year reports to the Mass Department of Revenue to provide a smooth closeout of fiscal year 26 so that our free cash can be certified. In August, I'm planning to develop budget instructions and forms so that department heads can begin planning their fiscal year 28 budget and capital requests in September. I know it seems like we just finished the fiscal year 27 process. August will also be the time when Darlene and I help the new town accountant become acclimated to their surroundings and our town procedures. My 5-year forecast tells us that we'll likely be facing a budget deficit of about $3.7 million for the coming year. And so I'm planning to work with department heads to identify some possible deficit reduction strategies. These preparations will help give the new town manager a head start on the budget process so they can hit the ground running on day one. Then we come to the point, how will this all work? You know, with the amount of hours that Paul and I pour into our current positions, I do recognize that serving as both the town CEO and CFO will not be an easy task, but I'm up for that challenge. In the finance department, I'm fortunate to have a seasoned assistant treasurer. Kim has 19 years of experience with the town. Our assistant collector, Lauren, has 13 years of experience in the office, along with Jen and Cassie, 2 dedicated customer service employees in the collector's office. The assessor's office has undergone a successful staff rebuild under Reagan's leadership following several retirements, and our technology and network manager are extremely knowledgeable and reliable. In the town manager's office, I plan to draw upon the experience of our support services manager, Christina, and operations assistant, James. So in closing, I plan to spend time daily in both offices. Our staff in those offices will help me by handling routine business. And finally, I'd say with assistance from department heads, town staff, and this board's support, I will make this work for the town. So thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for John before we have a further discussion?
No.
Okay. Any thoughts about John as the acting town manager?
I'll jump in here. So I appreciate everything you said, John, and you answered a lot of the questions that I had, because I do know, living across the street, that John's light, like Paul's, often on late at night, so I know that they're here working. But he's not only the finance director, but you know, he's a member of the planning board and the capital planning committee, and the managed growth strategy, which I'm fortunate enough to work with him on. And I've gotten to know John over the years, and I know that this is going to be a heavy lift for him, but I definitely have all the confidence that he'll be able to fill this and transition as Paul heads off to new adventures, and then transition a new person when we find them. So I appreciate you, John, being able to step into this role.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I started working with John many years ago, probably longer than I want to admit. And I can say that John has always gave himself as professional and respectful to everybody around him. And I have full confidence that he's going to be able to hopefully bridge this time between Paul and the next town manager. That's about it.
Okay.
Good luck.
John, you and I have worked together when I was on FinCom and selectman before, and I guess I'm a selectman again. And you were always great. I give you a lot of credit for our bond rating and for a lot of the financial success that Paul deserves a lot of credit for, but you as well. And I have every confidence that you'll be able to handle this position with the skill that you have already shown us before.
Thank you.
Yeah, from my end, I realize I haven't known you very long, but I've been very impressed right out of the gate. First impression was fantastic, and over the last 3 or 4 months working and hearing from you. It's clear you know exactly what's going on. You are very clear. You articulate everything you're doing accurately and precisely. And so I'm a big advocate of this position for you.
Thank you.
And John, I'll just echo what everybody said. I'm grateful that you've chosen to step up and offered to take on these additional responsibilities, which, as you mentioned, it's not going to be easy. There are going to be a lot of long days and I'm sure late nights going forward. So with that, I'll take a motion.
Okay, I am proud to make a motion to appoint John Souza as acting town manager effective May 26, 2026, for a period of 6 months or until a permanent town manager is hired, whichever occurs first. Mr. Souza will continue as the town finance director while assuming the duties of acting town manager, and he will receive a stipend for those additional duties.
And I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
It was mentioned that, that John will receive a stipend for these additional duties, and with the agreement of the other board members, I could do those negotiations with him over the next week or so that that's in place before May 26th, when he will officially take that position, if that's okay with everybody. And we'll make that announcement at our next meeting. And in the meantime, I'm sure John is going to have a lot of time in Paul's office.
Absolutely. I'd like to spend a lot of time with Paul.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you, John.
All right. So our next item on our agenda is the Town Manager Screening Committee. And we do have in our packets, it's the Town Manager Appointment Policy, which indicates the composition of the Screening Committee, which was pointed out today, does differ somewhat from what's in the charter. In the charter, it says that the Screening Committee will include select board members, plural. In the policy, it was written there would be at least one, but no more than 2 select board members. So I guess that means we're going to have to go with the 2 select board members to make it conform with that. In the policy, it says at least 1 representative employee from town staff. The charter says that all the other screening committee members need to be town residents. So that means that the employee must also be a town resident, which I think we can take care of that appropriately. So the other thing I would note, according to the policy, the screening committee should consist of 7 to 9 members. How I would propose that we decide the composition of the screening committee would be first to select the 2 select board members that will be on it. And then we can decide how we want to select the staff person and the rest of the residents, and and the actual size of the committee, whether it's going to be 7 or 9 members. So we know, based on what we have received from submissions for the screening committee, that John is interested in being on the screening committee. Now, I will note that Dave did ask me if he needed to submit something in writing. I said no, because I figured that part of the screening committee, there's a very limited pool to choose from. There's only 5 of us. So I told him it wasn't necessary, but I do know that he's interested. So I guess I will ask the other board members if they have an interest in serving on the screening committee. Aaron?
I'd be willing to serve in that capacity, absolutely.
Okay, and Jeff?
Pat, as I mentioned, I'm going to be on the road quite a bit in August, and I don't think it would be fair to the rest of the committee if I was one of the representatives from this board.
Okay. And I'm going to also step back from volunteering for this committee. I guess the main reason is that I know we're going to have a good amount of applicants for this. Chelmsford is, as we know, a good place to work, and when people come here, they usually stay for a while. So that's a good thing. But I think knowing some of the candidates who may step forward, that can be a plus or a minus. So rather than try to negotiate that part of it, I'm going to allow the other 2 members to be one of, or two of the three that have shown an interest. So if each of you want to say why you want to be on a committee, and then we'll have to narrow it down to two out of the three of you. So, John, why don't you start?
Well, in my letter of intent, I indicated that I have been involved in town government for over 20 years in all different capacities, finance committee, moderator, select board, now my second sort of term. I have worked closely with 2 different town managers. The fact that I'm an attorney, I think, is a plus. I do believe without, if another attorney had applied, maybe I wouldn't be so hard in advocating for myself, but I truly believe that there are situations where the understanding of an attorney can be beneficial. In my professional life and in my volunteer life, I have hired numerous CEOs of nonprofit corporations, and I've been involved in all different situations where, there was a headhunter who limited the number of candidates, and then we interviewed them and we assessed their qualifications. And we also had some where we just sort of hired from within. Both have their benefits and both have their differences. I do believe that my experience of also hiring a number of attorneys over 49 years helps. And I just think that my skill set is sort of unique.
Okay. Aaron?
Yeah, thank you, Pat. The, like John and I'm sure the rest of us sitting around the table, I've had more than my fair share of finding and building teams and seeking candidates. I think I've been fortunate enough in most of my career to not sit too far from the C-suite offices and be a trusted advisor to them and to be side by side with those types of operations across multiple different companies. Granted, I don't have as much experience in government operations, but I've spent, the last 8 years, learning how this town operates, serving on committees, working with town employees on different things, working with Paul over the last year as a select board member. And, I knew that at some point this, given the term that I had run for, that, Paul was likely to announce a retirement, and that was one of the reasons, behind running. I wanted to have the opportunity to choose a select, help be a part of the team that would choose the next town manager. And now that I've gotten to know the staff a little bit better, I feel very passionate that I serve on this committee in whatever capacity that I can, and to help select the next town manager on behalf of the residents and the employees of the town.
Okay.
So I just appreciate the consideration.
All right. And Dave?
Yep, on my end, obviously new to the board, but I do have, like both of you, an immense amount of experience hiring people from CFOs to directors of marketing, directors of sales, all different types of environments. I think I bring a little bit of a benefit, which could be a benefit, is I don't know the people as well as you, so I can be very objective in my decision-making related to who should be hired, based on the data and the communications we have with the people that come up. So, I mean, a lot of the same things you folks have said apply to me as well. Lots of experience, not experience here, but in some ways, I think that may be helpful. It's a different mindset than others may have. So, just my opinion. So,
Fair enough.
Okay.
Could I say something else?
Sure.
I know that the charter says that select board members can serve, and although the policy says that only 1 or 2, I don't see why not we can't have 3.
I see an issue with having a quorum on a subcommittee like that, a quorum of the select board.
Well,
I
we
mean,
wouldn't be a quorum even if there was 7. We
No, a
don't-
quorum of the select board.
Oh, a quorum of the select board. I don't think that that's, to be honest with you, and I've spoken to people who were involved in the hiring of Paul Cohn. The more selectmen that they had, the more comfortable they felt with the fact that the process would be fair and that they would pick a candidate who would best serve the town. And we were fortunate enough to hire someone who stayed with us for 20 years. So I think that the proof is in the pudding there. So I don't think we're going to be discussing anything that any other committee wouldn't discuss, that it being three of us. Paul, do you know how many
There were
select?
4 on that.
There were 4.
There were 4
There were
before.
4.
So I
But
don't.
that doesn't mean that it was the right thing to do.
Well, I think we ought to decide what the right thing is to
Okay.
do. So I would move that the 3 of us serve in the committee. It would be nice if someone seconded the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, I mean, a motion has been made and seconded. I was the author of the policy that said 1 or 2. Obviously, it has to, according to the charter, it has to be at least 2. And that was the main reason that, what I just said, I felt uncomfortable having 3 members of the select board on the screening committee, especially if it's only going to be 7 members. So anyway, but we can talk about that after we finish this.
Okay.
So we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on whether to have 3 members for the select board on the screening committee?
Well, if that's the case, I think we should consider expanding the committee to 9 people. Because we
Okay,
got
I mean,
a
that-
lot of really good applicants that
We
came in.
do, we do.
Well, like I said, that would be the next, okay.
So you get 2 for the price of 1.
All right, so a motion and a second. All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. So we already have 3 members of the screening committee in place. All right, so and as I said, this policy was just adopted last summer. I was the author of the policy, but I did not expect it to have to be used so quickly. The intent was, I know some people maybe have read it differently, but the intent was when the composition was described, to have the members, how many members of the select board, and then employees, and then the rest of the residents. The intent was to select them separately, and we've done that now with the select board. So the next one, I would say, would be to select the employee who will be on it. If that's, we can do that next, and then do the rest of the, although we can also decide right now how big we want to make the committee.
Yeah. My feeling is we've got 30 candidates.
We have, yes.
Of varying experiences and some of whom I know personally, and I guess that you do as well. And with that many people, and we're picking 6 out of 30, well over 2/3 are not going to be happy with the decisions we make. So I would just as soon throw out there that each one of us pick the top 7 or 8 people, or 9, that we feel would best serve in that capacity, in writing, and then we just count the ballots. And that way, we don't have to, we all know the people who are running, we've read the resumes, we know what their skill set is. I think that before we do that, if you want to do that we also sort of discuss what qualities we think that candidate should possess. Some of those qualities, not all of them. Obviously, none of us can possess all of the qualities. But that's my thought, that if we're all here, we know we were going to be picking people, and my feeling was, if we all just wrote down names, we can put our name on top so that you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be announced, but if you want to, that's fine, who the people are that we are recommending. And if there's one name that shows up in 4 or 5 of ours, or even maybe 3, maybe that person makes the cut. Because again, there's 30 people and there's 5 of us. And I've got pad of paper and pencils, and how do you feel about that? Is
Okay. If I could, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I wouldn't go to 9. I think if we each do 6.
That's fine.
And then anybody who gets 3, hopefully no more than 6 people will get more than 3 votes. And then anybody who gets 3 is going to automatically be on it. And then if we have to go through a second iteration to
That's fine.
select 1 or 2 more.
That works for me.
So, Aaron, you were going to?
Yeah, and again, this was my thinking about this, right? I wouldn't have a problem if we chose 9, and I'll tell you my rationale for thinking that. First of all, it's an important committee. It's gonna take, especially with the addition of a select board member, we might need that. Some of these bigger committees, there can be a little attrition, so people can jump on and then maybe not work out, and I'd still like to make sure that we have a contingency there. But that being said, I think if you're gonna have 3 select board members, and that leaves 4 others to go in there, I do think that.
Okay, go ahead.
I do think that we have qualified pools of town employees, and it doesn't say that we're restricted to 1.
Correct.
So in my selection process that I went through and made all my little notes, there's definitely more than 1 town employee that I think should be considered because of the nature of their job and their experience and those types of things. So I would just like to put it out there that I don't want to limit that particular group, and if you do the math, you can have 2 town employees, 2 residents, everybody's kind of covered, is my thought,
Well,
with the 7.
I guess, as has been mentioned, I was pleasantly surprised by both the quantity and the quality of the applicants that we had. That's why I would encourage it to be 9, because that way we could each vote for 6, and within those 6, everybody should be sure they have at least 1 employee listed. And if you want to have 2, then that's fine too. And if 2 town employees get 3 votes, then that would be a good thing.
Okay.
Anybody else have any suggestions?
I think that's good.
Well, to your point, Aaron, if attrition happened, I think having a little bit larger board, and they always used to, staying over my mother's kitchen sink was, God so loved the world, he didn't send a committee.
Well, I've been on committees that have shrunk, and then I've been on other ones that surprisingly haven't shrunk, so.
Well, summertime might be a challenge too, so I think having 9 people would be beneficial.
So Paul, do you have copies?
I printed out copies of the
Oh, okay.
applicant list, if you guys each want to take one and then fill
And
it out.
just circle the ones?
And circle the ones, yeah, and put your
Yeah.
name on it, because as you know, you can't have a secret ballot in
Yeah,
a,
that works.
in a meeting, but,
And then you can just read off what.
Yeah, exactly, so
Okay.
it's just trying to help.
I have my own list, if he doesn't have enough.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't know,
I wrote on
I didn't know if
mine,
people had things marked up that they didn't want to be
Yeah.
turning in and stuff, that's why I made a copy for everybody.
No worries.
Okay, so you have 2 minutes to do this. Well, do we have a report you can do, Paul, while we're doing that?
Report. Jeez. Let's see.
So what did we say, 6?
Yes.
6,
6.
all 6.
Yep. Okay, everybody ready?
I need 1/2 a second.
You want to just pass them in?
I thought we'll let Paul,
Give them to you, Paul?
Sure, yeah.
yeah, he's I think he's an objective onlooker. in this situation. Oh. Yes, you don't have to do
They're not in the
six.
same order as mine, so it's messed up. There it is. Okay, I have all 6 listed. You need a name on the top or just?
Yes.
You do.
Please. Did you put your name on yours, Tamara?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good.
So I got Pat's, Jeff's, John's, there we go.
All right. So, now we come to it. You gonna read them out, or are you just gonna?
I'll let him,
I can just,
Okay.
I'll just check it real quick and then just tally it.
Okay, so while he's doing that, we do have one more item having to do with the screening committee, and that is whether or not to hire a search firm to help us with this. My personal opinion is that I don't think we'll need it with the quality of the people that we have lined up to do this, and we also have the help of our HR director, who will be, a staff person for this committee. Anybody else have any thoughts on that, or?
I don't see any reason to spend the money, to be honest with you.
Correct, yeah, that too.
yeah, to be honest with you, I agree with both of you. We put an ad in the, notify the MMA, and having only 2 town managers in 40 years is a pretty positive thing.
Yes.
We're a well-run town. We don't have crazy people on the the select board, at least as far as, except maybe me. And I think that, I think that would be, we probably would get 25, 30 applicants at least.
I wouldn't be surprised, correct, yeah. Okay,
I'm pretty confident in our ability and the screening committee's ability to get that, and I think if it doesn't go well, then we could revisit it, but I wouldn't spend the money.
okay. All right, I'll take a
Okay.
motion. Can we just get a
Go ahead.
motion on
Go
that,
ahead, yeah.
since we're about whether to,
So I make a motion that we do not hire an outside service as a search committee.
Second the motion.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So, what do we have?
Well, I could have used the help of the election team that was counting ballots in the room. But I do got this 30 here, no write-ins. And here's what I have. There are 5 people who are in the lead, and then you're going to run into a tie for the 6th. So I'll just
Okay.
read you that. The 5 are, Christine Clancy received 5 votes.
Oh, wow, good.
Sam Chase received 3 votes. Patricia Duras received 3 votes. Dennis King received 4 votes. And S. George Zaharoulis received 3 votes. So that gives you 5 people: Sam, Christine, Tricia, Dennis, and George Zaharoulis. So that brings you to 8. Now becomes the issue is you have 1, 2, 3 people that receive 2 votes. I'll read who they are. They're Nicole Gately, Jessica Porter, and Anita Tanini received 3 votes. Beyond that, Lisa Grasso, Elizabeth Hasty, Maggie Marshall, Bobby Moulton, Mike Rigney, and John Souza Jr. received 1 vote. So I don't know what you want to do with that 9th position.
Okay, well, I don't think we're going to expand it to 11.
No. I'm
Despite
just
what
saying.
John might be thinking there.
Oh, no, I'm not thinking that at all. So who had the 3 votes?
The 3 votes were
Nicole?
were Nicole Gately, Jessica Porter, and Anita Tanini. So if you want to, do you want to just do a runoff of those 3 people in terms of, it probably makes the most sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna, then I'll pass you back your ballots and then you can just mark it on the other side or make it clear.
Okay,
Yeah, then that way-
yeah, that'll work best.
That'll work the best way.
Re-rank the 3. Re-rank the 3.
No, just one.
Just pick one. So on the backside.
So,
Again, I'll repeat the 3 names. Like ranked choice voting. The three candidates are number 10, Nicole Gately, number 24, Jessica Porter, and number 29, Anita Tanini. Those are the three people that received 2 votes. So the simplest thing is if each of you choose one of them, whoever has majority would be chosen.
Right, we should be able to get, you
Want
have
it on the front or the back?
whatever, just as long as
Yeah, you can just write it on the
indicate.
back, the front, whatever.
I just circled
I
it
wrote mine on
again
the
and
back.
said
Okay.
second round.
I'm going to pass that around. Like that ballot question with the open voting, the top 2. Ranked choice, or the top 2 winners make the final. Yeah. Okay, so
We can't have it
okay,
tied.
so
We're voting on it.
No, yes, you, no, it is, it's 3-2, so it was close. There were 3 votes for Anita Tanini, and then 2 votes for Jessica Porter. So, of the 3, Pat Wojcik and Aaron voted for Jessica Porter, and Dave, John, and Jeff voted for Anita Tanini. So I'm going to hang on to these, public record, this way if there's no confusion, somebody wants to validate the election, recount, whatever, but it's all there, no, and that's why I read who had the second one, so there was no confusion about a second vote on the thing. So basically, Anita Tanini would be a 9th member.
Okay, so the manager's office will send letters to these folks, and should we set an expiration date for seating on this committee? Maybe the end of this calendar year?
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, I would say till December 31st, yeah. Just, as an outlying
Right,
date, yeah.
okay. All right.
I mean, if it went longer, we could always.
You could always
update that.
extend the terms, yeah.
No, I agree with that then.
And I don't think we need a motion, since that's what we did. We voted on who should be on it. Okay,
Congratulations.
thanks. All right, so next item on the agenda is progress on hiring a new town accountant. So I just have a brief report on that. We've had the job posting up since the beginning of April. We've received 5 applications. Of those 5, there are at least 2 that are strong possibilities. So we will be doing interviews over the next, there's already one scheduled for next week, and another one maybe for next week, or maybe a little later than that. And if one of those looks like a good candidate, we potentially will have somebody in line to be hired by the end of this month. If not, then we will redouble our efforts to get more applications. So unless anybody has any questions, that's about the update for now.
Yeah, just a question about the process, so, which you're leading. At some point, is the decision get made, and then we go ahead and appoint it as the board? Because it's another,
Well, you would.
just remind me of the process.
The interview panel will make a recommendation,
Okay.
and then it'll come to the full board for approval.
Of whatever the.
Correct.
The candidate, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have 5 solid resumes, you said?
Well, not 5
Well-
solid, we have 5 resumes.
5 resumes and a couple candidates, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. No, that's good.
All right. Paul, I don't know if you have anything else to add?
No, like I said, I expect, obviously, when we bring that candidate, the person will come in person, you'll be able to interview questions or whatever,
Right.
ask questions, but yeah, and I believe, if memory serves me, that's how we did it when, almost 19 years ago, and
Right,
so, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, and it should, if everything goes well, let's assume one of these candidates works out, there's still runway to get them on board before.
Oh, for
starting
Oh,
sure.
yeah,
leaves, right?
yeah, the idea would be you'd have 2 months, which is
Right,
pretty
okay.
standard,
Yeah,
60
that's-
days.
Yeah, Darlene's official retirement date is Labor Day.
Right,
We have
yep.
Memorial Day and Labor Day for the,
Okay.
And same thing, because Darlene would be hesitant to leave in the midst of closing the books, they would allow this person
Right,
enough
right.
time.
And I
And then
knew-
when that person's leaving, they could give adequate notice too. So it should work out well if all goes well.
Yeah, and I knew that she wanted to get all that stuff
Yep.
wrapped up, so, perfect, thank you, sorry, Pat.
oh, that's fine. Okay, so next on our agenda is the Select Board policy for custodial credit risk. And John Souza brought this forward at our last meeting. John, if you want to come up and if anybody has any questions, they can ask you. I don't, it looked fine to me. I don't know if anybody else has any questions, but per our policy, we had to wait till the second meeting before actually adopting it. Any questions?
Yeah, I think this was just as we discussed last time, for folks that didn't listen, this was, the things that we're codifying in this are things that we already essentially do.
Exactly, and this is resulted from the last year's audit and the recommendation of the audit firm just to codify it in writing.
Yep, okay, thanks, John.
All right, so we can take a motion for approval of this policy.
Make a motion to approve this policy. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
I'll
This is-
make a motion that we approve the custodial credit risk policy.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
John.
Keep waiting for you to look around the table to do roll call.
Yeah, fortunately, we don't
Such a
have to
habit.
today. Yeah. All right. Next is a new policy to be considered. I guess it's actually an update.
Yeah, it's an
Of the
update from our
policy?
buy recycle policy, yeah.
So if you want to tell us about that.
Yeah, this is an update from our buy recycle policy. The reason it's on the agenda tonight is it has to have 2 readings, and we need to have an updated policy in place by June 1st. So again, I apologize for the short notice. This is for the town's eligibility for grant funding. Under the, basically the, buy recycle or green communities sustainable purchasing policy. So what we have is we have the, draft policy that's issued, by the grant, issuers. And this goes through our Public Works Sustainability Manager, Chris Haley. And I guess in summary, the text is there, but I think in summary for those watching, because it's a lot of text, is that basically it says that the town should prioritize the purchase of environmentally preferable products and products made with recycled materials whenever such products meet performance requirements and are available at reasonable prices and terms. There's a lot in that sentence, but I think it really says what it is. It's a prioritization and of environmentally preferable products and recycled, provided they meet performance standards and reasonable prices and terms. That's the key. So it doesn't bind you, it doesn't handcuff you, but it basically says this is how the town should go, and if those conditions are met, then that's what will happen. So, and we do many of these things already anyway, like buying recycled copy paper. We minimize our waste disposal. We purchase recycled materials. We even in things, whether it's asphalt, reclamation, or those type of areas. We're always looking at best ways, to minimize waste disposal and so forth. And basically the whole goal is to minimize trash to what really isn't usable, and therefore that's supporting this. So that's what this policy is. So again, your policy is not to vote on the night of the policy, but the goal would be to bring this back on the 18th for adoption, and then we can submit this, that we're in compliance with this policy when we submit for our recycled grant.
Okay, any questions about this?
So there's no action for us tonight?
No, you can't, because it's a new policy.
Yeah, but you can ask
If
questions.
there's any questions, we can answer them.
I just have
yeah,
one question.
sure.
Has Badri been consulted related to this? I assume yes.
I
but-
believe that this goes.
It just wasn't noted in any of the
Christopher-
documentation.
Chris
Okay.
Haley, who sits as the sustainability committee, attends and
Okay.
interacts with the
Perfect.
recycling committee and the sustainability committee.
That wouldn't have gone over well.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, this is perfectly up Audrey's,
Yeah, no worries.
wheelhouse.
So, Paul, just to make sure I heard you correctly at the beginning, this opens us up to, ensures that we stay open to grant opportunities.
Yep.
And we're already doing it anyways.
Exactly, yeah. It's
all I
just,
needed.
it's just updating it, because
Right.
with the terms and conditions, yeah.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, great, so we'll place that on your agenda for a vote, action next meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is Select Board Liaison assignment. So thanks, everybody, for getting back to me on what you wanted to reach out to, the committees you wanted to have a liaison to. If you look at this list, there are a couple of, actually, 3 blanks for capital planning, Commission on Disabilities, and Permanent Building Committee. So if anybody would like to take the lead on one or more of those.
I can tell you for your consideration, and John's in the room, Capital Planning Committee lasts, 5 weeks? It's about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Basically, it's from mid-November to early December. Usually it's one meeting a week on a Wednesday night or what have you. But, so, whereas the other ones are year-round. So if that helps.
Right.
In terms of people's time commitments.
I thought I mentioned to you that if nobody else wanted it, I would be happy to take that, just because it's.
Okay, well, it looks like we have a couple of volunteers.
Well, no,
That's fine.
Aaron, if you want to, go ahead.
No, I've.
Well, I think Dave raised his
Yeah,
hand.
I was gonna say the same. We get to see three people
Right,
again,
I've
yeah.
got committee assignments, so I'm,
All right,
I'm
well,
okay with
I'll
that.
pick Dave to take that
You'll
one
pick
then.
Dave,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a fun group, David. It really is a good insight. It'll give you
Well,
good
and
insight.
it's, yeah, not a
It's
heavy
earlier.
lift.
Yeah.
Anybody interested in Commission on Disabilities?
What's the commitment?
I mean, it's.
They meet
like-
monthly,
Like any
yeah.
liaison, you attend if you can, or if you haven't, if there's something on the agenda that might interest you. You're the first point of contact if they want to come before us. They meet once a month, but, you can't make it.
Somebody who's lived through it, I think.
Yeah, I think you already have some good
Okay.
insights, Jeff, to be
All right.
honest. No, in
Very
terms of,
interesting,
like you
very
said,
good.
people, yeah.
All right. How about permanent building? That leaves John and Aaron to fight up that one. Either of you interested in that one?
If John wants it, he's got it. If not, I'll more than happy to it.
Well, I really don't know much about buildings and engineering and all that stuff. So.
Maybe you could learn, but, okay.
I can just tell you what they're doing right now, what they'll be doing over the next 12 months, and John's here in the room with me. They basically sort of look over, and not in a regulatory way or otherwise, what's going on with the fire stations project, construction project, and they're keeping tabs with the Parker School building project. So, as well as any other building projects that come in the meantime, on some of the major things. So they don't meet, they don't meet, no, he's no longer on there. They don't meet every month, they meet as needed if an issue arises on those projects. So I would say they're probably meeting every other month or so is probably fair, I think, John, right? In terms of the committee's meeting schedule. And again, they're keeping tabs on, right now, that's what's on their plate for the next 12 months is, particularly the fire station one, because that's moving forward. Obviously, the Parker School one is really only in the feasibility stage.
Okay, so Aaron, you're okay with that one? Okay, good.
Aaron?
And one that I wanted to get some, Paul can maybe explain this better than I can, about the school building committee. We did have Pat Maloney listed there. There's some discussion as to whether he's a select board appointee or just some other way he was appointed there. I know we had him listed here as the member, but quite frankly, I don't remember if the board voted for him to be on there, or if the chair put him
No,
on there.
the board voted. It was a board vote
voted.
at your
Okay.
meeting in April of 2024. Just to give you some insight, as Pat suggested, on June 3rd of 2024, the select board approved the list for the school building committee by a 5-0 vote. Remember at the time, Pat, we added John Souza to the committee? I don't know if you recall
Okay,
that
all right,
discussion
yep.
going back to that time.
Yep.
Anyway, how it works is, and why there's a little bit of confusion is, the Massachusetts School Building Authority, which as you know is the oversight funding agent for this project, they have what they call are required positions for any community for a school building committee across the Commonwealth, because you can imagine the number of projects and communities they're dealing with. So that committee requires one member be someone who is Massachusetts procurement certified, and that was Brandon Kelly, who was a town resident on Kelso Road. Local chief executive officer, that was me as town manager. School committee member, that was Dennis King, and still is Dennis King. Superintendent of schools. Local official responsible for building maintenance, that was Matt Schweitzer, or is Matt Schweitzer. Representative office authorized by law to construct school buildings, that was Tim Powderly, because again, he's permanent building committee chair. School principal, Josh Blagg, he's on there. Member knowledgeable in education, mission, and function of facility, that was Brian Curley, who again is in the schools and the building side. Local budget official or member of local finance committee, Jim Clancy, who's the finance committee chair. It also has to include and has included members of community with architecture engineering and/or construction experience. That was Christine Clancy, or is Christine Clancy, our Public Works Director. And then there was this category called Other, provide brief background information and expertise. That's where you see Pat Maloney, he's listed as Select Board member, and then in the narrative, we described that Pat had served on the 2004 Chelmsford School Building Committee, which oversaw the $31 million renovation, in addition to portions of Chelmsford High School, McCarthy Middle School, and Parker Middle School. He served as chair of the Permanent Building Committee and oversaw the construction of a DPW headquarters, Fire Department headquarters, and renovation of historic town halls. He also served as the owner's project manager for the renovation of the North Chelmsford Fire Station. It also included Joanna Johnson Collins, who's the Director of Business and Finance for the school department. And as directed by the board at the vote, we included John Souza, our Finance Director, Treasurer, Collector. So that's the composition of the committee. So as you can see, it doesn't require there be a Select Board member. But if you technically look at the form, when we listed Pat Maloney, at the time he was a Select Board member, so I listed him as Select Board member and then noted all of his other accomplishments. So there's obviously going to be one less member on the committee by my departure, the fact that the acting town manager, John, is already on there. So if you wish, you can put a Select Board member on that committee and it'll be accepted by the MSBA at the state level. What they basically require is that any changes to the composition of the committee be submitted within 20 days for their approval. And that's going to happen anyway because I'll be departing in 20 days. So the question is really yours. Do you want to put one of you, or I guess technically put anybody else on at this point to, add another member to the committee based on my departure?
Okay, and I understand that Pat is the chair, is that correct?
Pat is the chair, yes.
Yeah. So I guess given that might, create some chaos, I guess, given that Paul is going to be leaving and Pat being the chair, I would suggest what Paul is kind of alluding to, that we could appoint somebody else from this board to that committee. And, I'd be willing to do it. And I understand
the committee meets the third Thursday of every month, at the school admin building, like clockwork, basically, 6:30, the third Thursday of every month. And that probably won't change, although you could get some extra meetings as you get later in the year, but yeah.
Okay, I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that.
Sounds like you said.
I'd go with the guidance of you and Paul.
And you do have school background, being in the
There you
Neshoba
go.
Tech, you've been
Yeah.
dealing with that kind of stuff, and we know they're getting some capital projects
Right,
money.
that's on my liaison.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay, all right. So I will notify the MSBA that, you should take a vote, and then, because just like we did the first thing,
Okay.
to appoint, the chair, Pat, as a replacement, for me on the committee. And then that way I can submit the vote, and notice to the MSBA.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we add Pat Wojcik to the school building committee.
Second the motion.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
All right, and thanks for everybody stepping up for these liaison assignments. Appreciate it. That turned out to be not too difficult to do. All right, so town manager bid awards.
Okay, just two items for your consideration this evening. The first one is for the Chelmsford Tree and Invasive Species Inventory and Management Study. This was a request for proposals as opposed to an invitation for bids, which means the proposals are evaluated irrespective of cost for the best quality. 7 proposals were received. The DPW Selection Committee reviewed the 7 proposals and selected Davy Research Group as the most advantageous proposal. Although they had not worked with Davy Research Group directly, they had good references and similar project examples. You may better know them as Davy Tree Service. They've been around for forever as a company. Anyway, the quote was within the budget. The quote was in the amount of $91,896 for a project with a $100,000 budget. So therefore, I'm seeking your confirmation to award the Chelmsford Tree and Invasive Species Inventory and Management Study to Davy Research Group of Shrewsbury, Mass. In the amount of $91,896.
Okay, are there any questions about this bid?
I've worked with these people for many years through the cemeteries, and they're a fantastic company.
That's good.
All right, so we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Davy Tree Service for the
Tree and invasive species
the tree and
inventory
invasive
management study, yeah.
species inventory study.
And I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
And then the second and final bid this evening is a little easier to understand and deal with. This is for the renovation of the town office's bathroom, the first floor in this building. Again, Public Works handled this procurement. Construction cost estimate was approximately $192,000. 3 general bids were received. The lowest qualified bidder was Picard Construction in the amount of $163,881. Their bid included all the requirement documents and was deemed to be responsive and responsible. The town has direct experience with Picard in recent years with positive results and is dealing with it for the South Row School ceiling project. So again, I'm seeking your confirmation and the bid amount to Picard Construction Corporation, $163,881. As you can see, it was just a hair over the lowest bidder, who unfortunately did not include the required DCAM update statement, which is a material component of the bid process.
So this is just for the bathrooms on the first floor, is
Yes,
that correct?
yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions about this bid? Okay, make a motion.
I'll make a motion, we recommend town managers, or go with the town manager's recommendation of Picard Construction Corporation to renovate the town office bathrooms on the first floor.
And I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
Town manager reports.
Yeah, real quick this evening, yeah, we've been here close to 2 hours, but my reports are pretty straightforward. The first one is basically your approval to, and although it doesn't happen to happen this evening, you can do it at your next meeting, but there is a class action litigation process underway regarding fire apparatus price fixing. This sort of falls in the wake of our participation in the PFAS and in the opioids class action litigation. KP Law is once again a partner in this process. And so they have sent out the materials and they are recommending that their clients participate in this process. So again, I would seek, your direction. How this works is, like most class action, there's no financial investment by the town to do it, but it does involve work by the fire department or accounting and others to provide the documentation to verify what are known facts, which are that in recent years, the cost of fire apparatus has risen well past the rate of inflation, and the time period to obtain fire apparatus has expanded significantly. And again, it will be up to the federal courts to determine whether this was due to, improper influence of the market. So that's the request here on this. And as I said, you can act on it this evening, or you can bring it back for 2 weeks for further consideration. But as we've seen in the past, we haven't seen a downside in participating in these studies, as I said, with the opioids and our partners in the water districts on the PFAS as well. And this does, the early indications is that this, there is some merit by the initial judicial review of this concern.
Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Chief Brian, how do you feel about this? You're the one who would have to be doing the work.
I was just going to say, if there's a downside, that is the downside. There's a lot of work involved, but I certainly support this initiative. If anybody saw my finance presentation back in March, I touched on this topic because the Senate brought this up back in, I think it was September of last year. And it kind of, if you look at the white paper that came out, they were looking at a 7B Federal Trade Commission study. I support the study, but I think that's going to take some time. We're waiting 3 years, 4 years maybe to get a truck. There's escalators built into the contract that the manager has to sign. that if the truck is not delivered on time, the costs go up, the price that we pay most likely will go up. So, as the manager said, it's not just the cost that is doubled, it's also the wait time. And there's a cost to the wait time, a financial cost to the town. So I certainly back this up. And I'm willing to put in the time, and I have been looking over the documents and providing the documentation, along with the accounting staff and finance director, John Souza.
Makes a lot of sense to me, a class action lawsuit where the town could recover significant money for the way that they have abused us.
And prevent costs in the future too, because
Right,
we're going to be coming in for replacement apparatus, and if they can get this market back to a competitive market, it would be helpful.
I will also say, since this has been brought to my attention, I've also reached out to area chiefs, and there's strong support with their communities to jump on this.
Right, and if you want to talk about the gear contamination part of it too, I mean, I know is it one lawsuit, or is it separate lawsuits?
That would be separate.
Separate, yeah.
That would be
It is,
separate, yeah.
okay.
And they were also talking about, this is also going into which we don't provide, but this has also been a concern with communities that are purchasing ambulances as well. There are a few ambulance providers, and it's the same type of, as you can see, there's this concern nationwide on these things, and we see it with bus contracts and other things as well, the lack of market competitiveness.
Yeah. And also like DPW trucks too.
DPW trucks, yeah.
So is this just kicking off now? Like, do we have any idea where the status is of the whole thing, or? Like,
Well,
how far along they are?
basically, the reason they've advanced this is they've had an initial inquiry, a success, leading to the fact that this is going to move rather quickly towards a class action suit.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read the whole presentation. Hopefully, we can resolve it before you retire.
Well, I mean, what they're looking for is quite extensive. They're looking for your contracts that you have, which I'm compiling that.
Yeah.
They're looking for, the wait times. They're looking for the costs. So since we've got to keep the truck longer, what are the costs that we're putting into the trucks? So now, deputies here, Anna Griffin, so we're compiling that information it's quite extensive. But I think we're willing to put the work in, because I think it's a worthwhile pursuit. I really do.
So should we take these separately, Paul? Because there is documentation in here on the,
Yeah, I think at this
Gear
point, the only one that they're seeking on right now is the fire truck
Okay.
price fixing, cost recovery litigation, because that's moving. The other one is probably in the background, and not at the, I don't think you need action at this time for that.
okay. Did you have something else you wanted to add, John?
No.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to wait if that's the purview of the board.
And I did ask council whether we should have discussion in open or closed session, and Council Fair, who's our main counsel, said communities are handling it either way, so we might as well let the community know that we're trying to recover and prevent future costs.
So just to be clear, this is the fire trucks only, not the
Yes,
PFAs?
this is just the fire trucks
Not
only.
the PFAs.
Yep,
It
yep.
all seemed like one when I read
Yeah,
it today, so,
yep.
okay.
All right, so we'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion that we support the partnering in this litigation for the fire trucks.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you for your
Great,
support.
thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All our department heads are signing up for double duty now.
Okay, the next item on my report is the, let the community know and the board know. You remember we had a discussion recently regarding the Chelmsford Arms, which is 1 Smith Street. The comprehensive permit application submitted by Choice, which is the nonprofit affiliate of the Chelmsford Housing Authority. It's an update to you and the community that since the time that the board has considered this, the application has been submitted to the Zoning Board of Appeals for the 96 rental units. That hearing is scheduled for Thursday, June 4th to open. And also, we did receive a copy through this application of the project eligibility letter from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, which is a necessary component to submit a 40B application. So bottom line is there, the housing choice will be advancing this again with notice to abutters and so forth that the hearing will open on June 4th. The next item I have is pertains to the new state law that Governor Healy signed on Sunday, April 19th, pertaining to the Cannabis Control Commission. In that modernization act of the commission, which got a lot of attention regarding the composition of the commission and so forth, there's a provision that effective immediately, all municipalities that allowed licensed marijuana retailers must allow residents within its border to receive licensed cannabis deliveries. Then there's cities and towns similar to Chelmsford that prohibit licensed retail operations must now opt out if the municipality wishes to prohibit its adult residents from receiving such deliveries. So basically what they're saying is, under the new status, limited deliveries permitted in every municipality. That's basically for medical. Medical is allowed. However, a municipality that does not wish to authorize retail marijuana establishment licenses within its borders may request a waiver from the commission. Upon initial request, the commission must grant the waiver, and the municipality may temporarily prohibit delivery within its jurisdiction. So basically, you make the initial request, it's prohibited, then the waiver is valid for 2 years, and then at the 2-year point, any extension of 2-year increments is at the commission's discretion. So that's what the community has to decide. You do not have to decide this tonight because at this point in time, the commission has not issued any further guidance on the application procedures, timelines, and implementations of its regulatory procedures under the Act. So again, this is more of an informative thing saying, hey, look, folks, there's a new law. If the select board on behalf of the community wants to prohibit retail marijuana deliveries within this community, you would have to submit the application process when those materials become available from the Cannabis Control Commission. And under the statute, they would grant you a 2-year initial license. Anything beyond 2 years is discretionary at the commission's point. So again, not looking for a decision tonight, but I'm making you aware of the new statute.
Paul, as I asked, if we allowed it in town, that would not give us a tax benefit, right?
No delivery. It just means that they can deliver in your town, kind of like Grubhub for cannabis. That you don't get any revenue fees. They just deliver in your community. So who gets the revenues are the places that are selling it, just like Grubhub. That's why I use that as an example. They're getting the meals taxes where the food's coming from, not where they're delivering it to.
Okay, as you said, we don't have to vote on it.
Don't have to vote on it, but I just want you the community to be aware of it because this sort of flew under the radar until we get this notice from the commission saying, oh, by the way, the governor signed this thing today and this is a new provision. Okay, speaking of legislature and earmarks, the legislature is in active session dealing with budgets. 2 quick things. Regarding the state supplemental fiscal year 2026 operating budget, our delegation has 2 earmarks that are in now conference committee. One would be for $25,000 for costs associated with the ensuring safe access to the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, and the other is $25,000 to the town for design improvements to the Chelmsford Center traffic signalization. So again, they're now in conference committee. The expectation is within a reasonable period of time, it will come out of conference committee. Generally, the earmarks tend to survive conference committee, so just wanted to make you aware of that, and then when it does become effective, we'll be notified, and again, then becomes the application and paperwork with the state. And then finally, on the state operating budget for fiscal year 27 that starts on July 1, as you may be aware, last week the House of Representatives adopted its version of the FY27 operating state budget. There were 4 earmarks for Chelmsford in there. That includes $25,000 for Council on Aging for nutrition services, $30,000 for aquatic management study at Hart Pond, $25,000 for efforts to address PFAS contamination through the granulated carbon filtration system, and then finally $25,000 to be expended by the town of Chelmsford for the maintenance of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. So down that, we'll go to conference committee. What's happening now is tomorrow the Senate Ways and Means Committee's version of the budget will be released. And although today they announced that they're going to include more local aid and sort of like a sneak preview, coming attractions, which was good news for cities and towns. I did hear from Senator Barrett's office today. They did receive the list that I had indicated that I had forwarded to you. They asked me for some kind of rank prioritization. Obviously, I didn't ask for anything that was in the House version, because you don't want to do that, because what you want to do is get things on both sides and they both come out. Whereas if you duplicate it, you're just duplicating what you have. So I provided that today. Again, the Senate will finish its budget. They debate the week going into Memorial Day weekend. So basically, they release it today, they got a week to get amendments in, and then basically they finish before Memorial Day weekend. So that's what will happen, and then from there, we'll go to conference committee, and hopefully, if all goes well, they'd have it done by July 1. If not, there'll be a temporary state budget, and it'll be adopted shortly thereafter. So that's where we are with earmarks, and that concludes my report for this evening. Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, meeting minutes. We have a couple sets of minutes. I think we can probably take them together.
Yeah.
Anybody have any edits or anything for either?
No?
Nope.
Well, we can take a motion.
April 9th and
April 13th.
April 13th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the April 9th meeting and the April 13th meeting.
Second the motion?
There, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, liaison reports. John, we'll start with you. Do you have anything?
I just got appointed.
All right, Jeff?
Paul, has there been a reorg for conservation?
I don't know.
I'll reach out to them.
I don't know. I haven't
Before
heard.
our
I know
next meeting.
Dave McLaughlin has joined for
Right.
the appointment, but I haven't heard of any change in the chair of the Conservation Commission, so I don't know.
Well, the chair is the one who stepped down, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
I'll
don't know.
reach out to them and before next meeting.
Oh,
Also, I know the parade committee is meeting next week, and we are 2 months away from the parade today. So, as I mentioned, I'd love to see more people volunteer and get involved so they can see how we operate during that last month, going into the event itself. And it's been a blast, I gotta tell you, folks. It's a great committee. If you're considering it, please just do it. And besides that, I mean, I know the cemetery, I've been working with the superintendent over some issues on some of the plaques, and we're gonna replace those, and we're gonna get them cleaned up on the niche walls. And that's it.
Okay. Dave?
On my end, I met with Badri for the Clean Energy and Sustainability Committee, and had a couple-hour meeting with him on Sunday. So a lot of good information out there about what the plan is for his group and the 4 pillars that he has in place for that. I know he presented it at the town meeting, but we went into a lot more detail on that, so I'll be looking forward to the next meeting to sit with the rest of the committee on that. The other thing I did was I reached out to Denise Pigeon about, it's not an official liaison, but I think it's probably gonna be pretty interesting to be on, is this Neshoba Technical Committee that she has a number of people who can provide input to the programs at the school, so.
Very good. Aaron?
Yeah, again, kind of quiet for mine now, although we're definitely ramping up. So there's a couple of shout outs I definitely would like to make. I did hear from the Center Water District, so they just wanted to correct the time. I spoke with John today about it. So Paul, I don't know if this is, I don't want to be out of line. I could sit and go through and kind of reach out and update our assignment list, but there are a couple that are out of date. I didn't know if that was something that James could maybe take a look at, if he has a better idea, because he's helping to, schedule these meetings and stuff. If he could just take it and just check with all of the people. I mean, I know the ones that I do, because most of them are the same, but if it's okay. If he doesn't have time, I'll do it. I just don't know when I get it done. One shout out to our friends over at the high school, the marching band, the choral group, and the orchestra for a successful trip down to Disneyland, where they performed at Disney Springs on the music stage, and the marching band got to march down by themselves this year. And, I think it's pretty cool that our kids got to march in front of, 10 15,000 people lining Main Street down there. And it was a privilege to get to see there, not only to see my kids, but all those kids that I've gotten to know over the years. They do it once every 4 years. When they do it again in 4 years, you're more than welcome to go down there and watch and support the group. There was a lot of Chelmsford shirts that week that we were down there. And then the other night, they performed their cabaret. It's their second year, the theater group. Amazingly talented kids. We are very fortunate, and I know you guys all know this. I'm preaching to the choir, but I think it was a resounding success for this cabaret set of mini performances. They had the young kids from Parker come. It was impressive, and the fact that the next night, the next day I had a meeting, and Pat, I'll let you talk about the historical commission, but I went to join that, and I got out of there as soon as that was over, and I was able to go make the second half again because it was that good. So I just want people to remember that we are very fortunate for the programs we have here in town for the arts and the success that our kids are having at the high school. So I thank all of them and the folks that support them over there for that. And then again, I got the opportunity to do the Chelmsford Historical meeting the other night, and Paul was there, Pat and John were there, and I thought it was a great session. I'll let Pat talk about that, but I think the idea of this cold and cane is pretty interesting too, and I'll let you share that since we recently gave Dean's mother that the certification for 109, right? 109. So that's all I have. I'll let Pat wrap up.
Okay, so I have a few things. First of all, condolences to the family of Eric Groves. He passed away last week. He was a longtime library trustee in Chelmsford. So I served with him, I think, for probably 3 or 4 years, and he was very active as a trustee, so sad to hear about his passing. As has been mentioned by Paul and by Dave, there is news from Neshoba Tech. Last week, they were given permission to release the information that they were granted a $3.25 million grant in order to set up 2 new programs at Neshoba for HVAC and facilities maintenance. These are programs that people have been, asking them to set up for quite a while now. So they're going to be able to go forward with that. It may mean more students, or it may mean maybe scaling back on some of the other programs that we'll find out at some point, but that's very impressive. This past weekend, the Chelmsford Friends of the Library had their used book sale in the town offices at the gym, and generated almost $27,000 worth of revenue from just selling used books at, anywhere from 25 cents to $2 each. So they have to sell a lot of books to make that much money, so good for them. And as we mentioned, the Chelmsford Historical Society had their Guardian Award presentation this past Saturday, and the award was presented to Andy Wilson, who is owner of the Realty building at the corner of 110 and 129. So he was given the award for his efforts to maintain that building as a historic building. And as part of the program, too, this is kind of a new thing that they're instituting there, or I guess an old thing that they're bringing back, which is the Boston Post cane, which typically is given to the oldest resident in the town. Many communities already have it. We used to have it, and then it kind of faded away, so they're reinstituting it. And it was awarded to Sylvia Contover, who in January turned 109, and she's a pretty amazing woman. I don't know. I think it's going to be it's going to be a long time before somebody replaces her. So anyway, Sylvia's an amazing woman. And lastly, last Friday, there was a graduation from the Firefighters Academy. I was there, Paul was there, John and Dave were there to see firefighters Christopher Cannon and Patrick Hogan receive their certificates of completion of the course. So we're looking forward to seeing them active on the fire department. And that is all I have for right now, so I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn to executive session to discuss strategy with respect to the litigation pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, for the cases listed on the posted agenda, not to return to open session.
Second the motion.
Okay, and I have to make a statement that we're going to executive session because open session would have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the town. And now, with that, we'll take a roll call vote to go to executive session. So, Aaron?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, so we are adjourned to executive session, not to return to open session.